Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hanging out with
Ted.
And today we are going to ask the question, is loot useless in 5e D&D in this new series? And this time we're talking about Henchmen.
Jump down to the description below, sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter. It's a great way to get gaming tips delivered straight to your inbox, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So one of the things that's been expressed about 5e from other people, I know like Anthony from Cardboard Fortress, one of his complaints is, I have all this money, but what do I do with it? It's pretty much useless to me.
Right.
The only character in 5th edition that I see never really having a problem with spending their money is the wizard. Mm-hmm. I was also, me and Ryan, Nerdarchist Ryan, were discussing this as well, is like, this is definitely something that's been expressed. Maybe we should talk about it. And we just recently had a viewer suggestion from Victor, I believe, about followers and henchmen. And I'm like, you know what? In this segment of the series, why don't we cover that?
There you go. So, followers and henchmen, depending upon what kind of DM you're playing with, they could just be nothing but targets. But if you're doing long campaigns, you're going to want someone who's going to set up the tent and prep meals and do all this kind of stuff. So you've got the ability to hire people, especially once you become affluent and successful, and they can wait outside and guard the caravan while you go into the cave, the castle, whatever you want to call it.
Camp with your horses or whatever.
Right. This way, there's someone to actually protect the things. There could be issues when goblins or wargs or something try to attack your campment, but if you have a DM who's not wanting to be a douche and make that be a constant threat, then you've got something that you can afford to say, well, I'm going to travel with supplies, I'm going to have extra things, I'm going to be able to do all these other things that a typical person is not going to be able to carry on their back.
So there's that, and also it could also become another plot hook, because you come out of the dungeon and your stuff's gone, your horses are gone, your trusted followers are gone, so now maybe they've been captured, you have to rescue them or something like that instead of just like murdering them outright.
Absolutely.
Now I feel like in earlier editions of the game, this was a huge part of the game, like. In first edition and second edition, you would hire torchbearers, and the henchman was built right into the mechanics. And then in third edition, they kind of brought it back with the leadership feat. Mm-hmm. In AD&D, one of the coolest things that the barbarian class got, which kind of like in essence put him on par with like a high level wizard when he got it, was to summon the barbarian horde. For Christ's sake, screw fireball, barbarian horde, boom! Like it was built right in there, and I believe like the cavalier had some things as well, and I believe fighters attract a follower. Like certain classes just attract the followers. Right. And if you have a large body of followers, then you need someplace to put them, right? So like it has a snowball effect of, building up what you're gonna need to spend money on, and mm-hmm. it also makes it more interesting because it makes the characters more prestigious.
It makes the characters more prestigious. It gives a constant state of someone to role play with. If the adventurers are traveling and you just have your band of 4 to 6 people, and there's no NPC there, the GM is out if they want to have a conversation. Where if you have an NPC that's there, a follower, a henchman, someone who's traveling with the caravan, you have an input into the conversation because you have an outlet for your voice as the GM.
Right, but it's important too to maintain the proper perspective too.
Absolutely.
You don't want to overstep it with those characters and be like take on that role too much, because then you're in danger of becoming that DM player character.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not trying to say like the commoner who's the torchbearer steps up when they don't have the answer to this riddle. Oh, did you try 7?
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying that, but to be able to have an outlet for you to role play when they're interested in it. You have someone that you can go to, and that you could have the party have the trusted ally traveling with them. That's a follower. That's a hired hand. Whatever you want to call it. and when you've got an entire caravan, that person becomes a possibility.
So, there's a couple things I think of from some of my recent games. The one going back like a year or so when I was running Eberron one shots in the one shot group. One of the players, Heath, asked me, can I have a henchman? Can I get an extra gold? Can I buy a henchman? I was a little hesitant because he strikes me as kind of a power gamer. I'm like, what is he going to do? What is he up to? And so, at first I was kind of like resistant to do it, and then I finally said, go ahead. Well, I'll work it out when we start playing. And I was completely wrong, to be honest with you. So apologies, Heath. He did an awesome job with it, and he had a goblin, basically a goblin slave, Smeagol, that was hilarious the way he did the role playing, and it was used well. Mm-hmm. He never really did anything particularly effective. It was almost like he was there for comedic relief between the two of them, and also at the same time though, like he treated this goblin horrible. But at the same time, like he was completely responsible for the goblin. Like he went out of his way to make sure nothing bad happened to the goblin. So it was an interesting dynamic. For my more recent games, I was thinking, especially for like Anthony and Nicole, like when they play the Gobblos, I'm like, you know what they should spend their money on? They should have an entourage. Even if it's only like around town or whatever, right? And here as a GM, this is how I would handle it. Be like, okay, well, what is the cost of living that you basically want to be able to sustain for yourself? Mm-hmm. And then you go, okay, well, you use a multiplier to go, okay, but you have to do it for your entourage as well, right? So now it's just a money sink. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. What I would say is that buys goodwill, especially with a certain class of people. So anytime you have social interaction with those people, I would give some kind of in-game advantage, maybe even advantage for checks or whatever. Right. Or maybe I would allow them to gather more information more rapidly. Maybe they don't even need to make checks for certain things.
Because one of them is going, one of the entourage is bound to be able to stumble across.
Yeah, so they have these hanger-ons that so they'll also provide a benefit. So it would almost be. I would make it on par with a background feature. Yeah. So generally, they're not particularly awesome, but they do something.
Right.
And usually what they do is force you to do more role playing. Mm-hmm. But for that role playing, there should be there's a reward. You get something.
So like the urchin has the ability to just be able to navigate the best way through town. So having an entourage, if that was an interest, you could certainly go that route.
Yeah, well, or also like the nobles. The noble feature is like you can get audience with other nobles. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe your entourage isn't going to do that, but it may grant you access to other people that would have been more difficult to get to
because you are traveling with a group. It's
it could be this amorphous benefit that's a collage of a lot of the different
areas,
background features, and because they're paying for it too. Like I don't know if an extravagant lifestyle is a gold piece a day, and you're going, well, it's going to be 3 gold pieces a day, right? So it's 90 gold a month, which isn't really a ton of money, but still they're spending something. Why not give them something for it? Right. And it could be fun, also you could also do other things like the characters gain reputation because. And not necessarily in a good way, because wherever they go, this crowd goes with them, and they're rowdy. I mean, come on, especially like if you're looking at the Gobblos and how they act, and the people with them are going to act out too.
Absolutely.
So it's just a chain of events.
You might have a mixture in that group. There might be someone who's like, I like them, but I'm not them type of situation. But more than likely, you're going to have people who are more like them, and it'd be fun to see what kind of entourage they come up with. I mean,
and then like you could do fun things like maybe the Duke shows up and goes, "Look, you need to stop. Look, I don't want you hanging out with my nephew anymore." And you could introduce like these interesting social dynamics that wouldn't otherwise come up. Or maybe there's people that want to be part of their hanger-ons that they don't want and they can't get rid of them. Like that annoying character from Baldur's Gate. Was it Baldur's Gate?
There was a number of annoying characters in Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, but you could do things like that just to liven things up and offer more role-playing situations, and it could even lead to small adventures.
Absolutely, there's a lot of adventure hooks that could be easily done with hired hands and mercs and whatnot.
Yeah, or at the higher levels, fighters or warriors wanting to build an army, or You could do, even if you don't pay for them to come to you per se, you may have to pay to maintain them. So, like a cleric who sets up, who starts attracting followers, and they won't leave, but at the same time they need to eat, right? So what do? Do they fend for themselves, or do you step up and take care of them?
So are we encompassing all hired people in this video?
Hired people are people you'd be responsible for.
Okay. All right. So then I got another avenue for hired hands is once you get to a significant level, and I'm talking, maybe 9+. When you've got tasks that might be beneath you, you can literally hire lower level adventurers to go off and do this for you.
Well, that's a good example. Kind of like Scott Garrity is really good for this. He loves using NPCs and followers and henchmen in his games and as a player. So like one of the things he wanted to do really early on was have an apprentice. So which is kind of along the same lines, because there's a lower level wizard that kind of follows you around and sweeps the floors for you or whatever if you have a floor.
And in my game, I was, sure, no problem. I didn't see an issue with it. So
and if you use the night variant, you automatically get 3 retainers. So when we were doing the Underdark game, I think Ryan did a pretty good job of using them to great effect.
In the Underdark game as well as the Spelljammer game, he's got.
Oh yeah. He just likes abusing those NPCs.
I happen to really like the ones for the Underdark game. It's a shame that we couldn't keep that one going. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
We'll replace it with something else, something better, something bigger, something more grandiose. But with that, what do you guys think? What are you spending your loot on in the games? Maybe if you put it in the comments below, we'll do a video on it. What do you think about followers and henchmen?
You can check us out over on Facebook.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.